Football Manager content creator Jamie Cradle has started a fundraiser for Children's Heart Federation. The link is in the description if you want to help out. Hello and welcome back to the RDF Tactics YouTube channel. Today's video we are going to be looking at ways to perfect the 5-4-2-1. We are going to be using Vitor Pereira's Fenerbahçe's tactic and look at how we got the very best out of Mesut Ozil in Football Manager. So in this video we are going to analyze Vitor Pereira's tactic and then of course try and replicate that into Football Manager and have a look at the results. Before we do, make sure you smash that subscribe button if you are enjoying my type of content. Make sure you hit the like button as well and leave a comment. Also, we are sponsored by OneFootball, so make sure you check this app out. OneFootball and the RDF Tactics channel have chosen to collab once again. Downloading this app would help this channel out in many ways, but why exactly should you download it? The OneFootball app is an excellent app for football fans. It's the best place to check recent news, legally watch matches, yes, for free, and you can follow your team and be notified when something major happens. It's also great to check out the latest transfer rumours, and if you're like me, you don't want to miss out on any rumours. Transfer season can be fun. Once all the league starts up as well, it's a great app to check statistics. This channel creates recreations. Using the OneFootball app helps grab vital stats, but also you will have access to team lineups before the football match starts. This is a great app if you want to follow football around the world or get the latest news just on your team. So make sure you try it out, but it does also help this channel out a lot and gives it many great opportunities to grow. So give it a go and I promise you won't regret it. Fenerbahçe have deployed a 3-4-2-1 or a 3-4-3 in every game this season, but Pereira's 3-4-2-1 is very attacking. The two can only be distinguished by the positioning of the wingers. In a 3-4-3, the wingers may look to stay outside and operate more as wingers, but generally they like to play a lot closer to the striker, and that makes a very narrow three up the top. Usually Pereira deploys the 3-4-2-1 when Mesut Ozil is available, as the former Arsenal attacking midfielder has great ability in between the lines. Now, looking at this image, we can see the strengths and the weaknesses of a 3-4-3. The 3-4-3 allows a full zonal defensive coverage, especially when defending 5 at the back. The shift to a 5-4-1 when in a low to mid block can make it hard for the opponents to penetrate. The 3-4-3 naturally creates a number of passing angles when building the attack from deep, and the system promotes overloads in the final third when attacking. The width comes from the wing backs, with the wide midfielders inverting into the half spaces. It can create a 5 versus 4 overload when playing against a team playing with a back 4. It does come with some weaknesses as well, like when defending as a part of a back 3-5, communication is key. Wide areas can be a weak point when entering a defensive transition. The midfield area can become overloaded 3 versus 2 against a team playing a 4-3-3 or a 4-2-3-1. There are more weaknesses as you can see on the screenshot as well. Since Fenerbahçe are a possession-orientated side, Pereira wants his players to start each attack from the goalkeeper and the centre-backs. The central defenders will push up outside the penalty area, occupying the position that usually a single pivot takes up during this phase. The two wider centre-backs split very wide and allow the goalkeeper to act as a central passing option. When the central centre-back pushes up to the edge of the area, he forms a double pivot of some sorts with the deepest central midfielder of the actual two-man midfield, whilst the other pushes up behind the opposition's midfield line. None of the three players stay on the same horizontal or vertical line, which allows for some nice and clean progression upfield through the central areas. Pereira needs his central centre-back to be comfortable in possession for this very reason. This player will quite often be tasked with dropping into space behind the opposition's first line of pressure and receiving on the half turn to orientate himself into a body position where he can drive or play forward with the ball. When Fenerbahçe managed to work the ball further up the pitch and reach the middle third, the centre-backs become important once more. The Fenerbahçe centre-back split very wide to cover the full width of the pitch. This is to ensure that the players on the flanks have a backward passing option to recycle possession, but it is also allowing the Turkish giants to have a defending player in the wider areas during moments of transition when the ball is lost. This is how Pereira positions his three centre-backs within the team's positional 3-2-5 shape in the progression phase. When Fenerbahçe's wide defenders venture forward on the flanks or in the half spaces, the ball near defensive midfielder will drop in a deeper position in the space left bare. In addition, the two other centre-backs push across to reduce the space. Now, looking at the passing options and structure in a 3-4-3, when building from the centre-backs, the player in possession can have 4 passing options, creating triangles with other centre-backs and deeper centre midfielders. The outside centre-back should operate with some width to receive in space and areas that they can progress the attack. An example, the 4 receives and plays the 3 or number 10 or even number 7 if they found space. The wide centre-backs operate in a high and wide position outside of the opposition's block to receive a diagonal switch ball. This is aimed at trying to disjoint the opposition's block. The advantage with this system in the attacking phase is that it encourages players operating between the defensive lines, as demonstrated by the number 7, number 9 and number 11. The key word when describing the 3 central defenders' roles when out of possession is aggression. Pereira wants them to be aggressive both when closing down players and closing down space. Pereira instructs his team to press high when the opponents are playing out from the back. The Turkish team pushes their double pivot very high too, using a man-orientated system. The wingbacks also push rather high and mark the opposition's fullbacks because Fenerbahçe's wingers are very narrow during the high pressing phase. The wingers are tasked with pressing the opponent's centre-backs and goalkeeper, whilst the centre-forward drops off onto the deepest pivot player. The press can be very successful, and so far this season, the Yellow Canaries have boasted a pass allowed per defensive action per 90, PPDA in other words, of just 8.44. However, the main issue with the pressing structure is that it often leaves the back three exposed and isolated in 1v1 situations against the opponent's forwards. This is where aggression comes into play once more. Pereira wants his centre-backs to be comfortable in 1v1 duels, which they genuinely are, and the defenders cannot allow any of the opposition's forwards to have time on the ball. So, that is Vitor Pereira's tactics and formation at Fenerbahçe in a nutshell. Now we're going to go into Football Manager to have a look at the replicated tactic, but also check out the results and how we got the very best, the very best of Mesut Ozil. Now, let's head over to Football Manager. So, of course, here is the 3-4-2-1 that I have created for Fenerbahçe in Football Manager. It's not a direct replication because we are limited with the player roles. So, in Football Manager 2022, you will be excited to have wide centre-backs, which would help this tactic out. So, for example, in central midfield, I believe Vitor Pereira uses a double pivot, and you won't really get a double pivot with a Mazzala who likes to roam from his position and operate in those wider areas. The reason, though, that I'm using a Mazzala is because we don't have those wide centre-backs that can push up and go into those wider areas. In Football Manager 2022 though, we will be able to, and I just didn't want to hold out this tactic any longer. So we are going to go through the team instructions, then the player roles and instructions before looking at the results. So for the team mentality, we are using positive. The attacking width is set to fairly wide. With the approach play, we are going to be playing out from the defence. For the passing directness, we have shorter passing because we are a possession-based side and the tempo is set to standard. In the final third, we are going to be sending in low crosses, work the ball into the box, and when players have the ball at their feet, they will look to bring the ball forward by running at the defence. In transition, when the possession has been lost, we are going to counter press, try and put pressure on the opponents right away, and when the possession has been won, we don't have a direct instruction. Again, we are a possession based side, so when you are playing against the bigger sides, maybe you will use the counter instructions to become more of a counter attacking side, but with teams around our level or below us, certainly we will remain to be a possession side. When the goalkeeper has the ball, he will look to distribute it by rolling it out to his central defenders. Out of possession now, we are using a much higher line of engagement, a higher defensive line, which then we are using an offside trap. We are using a standard defensive width, using tighter marking because we are a man orientated side, pressing more urgently, preventing the short goalkeeper distribution, and also getting stuck in. Now for the player roles in goal, we do have the sweeper keeper on the supportive duty, no added instructions. The three at the back, the two wider ones, are central defenders but on the cover duty. The central defender on cover is asked to stay wider, and in the middle we have a ball playing defender on the defensive duty, asking him to dribble more, try and bring the ball forward a little bit as well. On the wider areas, we do have two wing backs, both on the supportive duty, both asked to mark tighter. In central midfield, we have a deep line playmaker on the supportive duty. He's tasked with tackling harder, whilst his midfield partner is the Mazzala, who's looking to take more risk, dribble more, shoot less often, tackle harder, and also mark tighter. In attacking midfield, we do have an attacking midfielder on the attacking duty. He's tasked to tackle more harder and mark tighter, whilst we have the Mesut Ozil role, the trequartista, the man on fire, simply on fire. He's tasked to mark tighter. Lastly, up top, we do have the advanced forward, who is going to be tackling harder and marking tighter. So that there wraps up the tactic in FM21, and I believe this tactic should work equally as good in FM22. If it doesn't, guess what? We make another video, but I believe it should. And of course, all you have to do is add those wide centre backs, but I'll probably make another video anyway about it. But that's the tactic wrapped up. We are now going to be looking at the results, see how well we did, and of course, Mesut Ozil. So as you can see in the Sport Toto Super League, we played 40 games, we won 36, drawing 2 and only losing 2. Those 2 losses came away to Besiktas and Sivasspor, which means we didn't lose to Galatasaray throughout the whole season, which is always a huge bonus. In the Friendly Cup, we got knocked out in the final by FC Cologne. In the UEFA Europa League, it's kind of disappointing, but we did reach the board expectation, which is the first knockout round, which then we got knocked out by Olympique de Marseille. And in the Turkish Cup, we were the winners. We won in the final, if we check, against Sivasspor 2-0 in the final. We were the better side. We didn't have most of the ball, but again, we were the better side, and we did win it with 10 men. So now looking at some of the team stats. For the most points per game, Fenerbahçe. For the most goals scored, surprisingly, we didn't score the most goals. We had 87 goals, but we did have the most shots for and the fewest shots against. For the best pass completion, we are third in 90%. For the average possession, we had the third most average possession with 53%. For the most tackles won, we are in fourth. For the most dribbles made, we are in fifth. For the most clean sheets, Fenerbahçe, and for the fewest conceded, Fenerbahçe by some distance, it looks like. And for the players, look at this. The top goal scorer, well, joint top goal scorer, Mesut Ozil. Okay, I don't think you heard correctly. The joint top goal scorer in a league is Mesut Ozil with 22 goals. He was averaging a goal every 135 minutes. Absolutely fantastic, but it doesn't just stop there. For the highest assist, joint highest assist, who is it again? Mesut Ozil. Yes, he did score 22 goals with 18 assists in the league. He absolutely destroyed the Turkish league. We also have Nazim Sangare with 11 assists in 4th place. For the most shots, we have Mesut Ozil in 4th place. For the most man of the match awards, Mesut Ozil. Mesut son. I love him. He's got 20 man of the match awards. I mean, this is just fantastic. Most key passes, Mesut Ozil. For most tackles won, our deep line playmaker and our Mazzala are joint with the most tackles won. They both have 122. For the most dribbles made, we don't have anybody in the top 8. For the most clean sheets, our goalkeeper with 27 clean sheets. And for the fewest conceded, our goalkeeper is in 2nd place with 15. So that there is the player stats, and of course Mesut Ozil, Super Mesut Ozil just did not disappoint. In 40 games he scored 24 goals with 24 assists. That is a goal contribution of 48 in 40 starts. He has 22 man of the match awards, as well as an average rating of 7.86 in all competitions. Absolutely outrageous. He does have the highest expected goals as well. So now we can look at the team report for the attacking efficiency. We were aggressive and clinical, almost on the wasteful side, so maybe we can do better with our shooting. And for the defensive, if I can find it, and for the defensive efficiency, you guessed it, we were quiet and impenetrable, so we were rock solid at the back, and we could do a little better, maybe some tweaking in attack to try and get more goals. But that there is all the statistics, the important statistics anyway, when it comes to Fenerbahçe's game. Now let's look at the squad to see who are the top goal scorers, who had the highest assists. By the way, Fenerbahçe's team is absolutely huge. Absolutely. We got like 4 strikers and we only used 1, so we were very good when it comes to squad rotation. For the most goals, Mesut Ozil, by far, 24 goals, and then the next top goal scorer was 9, which was the shadow striker or the attacking midfielder. We have Kovacic, if that's how you say his name, on 8 goals, 6 assists. Luis Gustavo on 8 goals, 2 assists. Zamata with 7 goals and 2 assists. That was fairly disappointing. That striker role really needs tweaking. It really does. It really does. For the assists, we have Mesut Ozil on 24 and Nazim Zagare on 12. So really everything went through Mesut Ozil, who operated on the left side of the pitch, and Sangare was the wing back on the right side. So we had Sangare on the right causing havoc. We had Mesut Ozil on the left causing havoc. On the left, he was also backed up with Filip Novak, who also got a fair share of assists as well with 9. So both flanks we done very well. Maybe centrally we could do a little bit better. Maybe we can get a better import from the attacking midfielder and maybe a better import from the forward. But unfortunately, that wraps up this video. I hope you guys have enjoyed it. Make sure, if you did enjoy it, make sure to subscribe, make sure to like the video. You can also leave a comment as well. Don't forget the OneFootball app as well. Make sure you download that. All of that, absolutely all of that, helps the channel. I'll see you guys soon. Stay safe. Peace out. One love. See ya.